stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, good morning and welcome to a special edition of the JP Peterson Show here as we are coming to you live from the Pelican in beautiful Bel Air, Florida, the first annual Kevin Harrington Foundation golf tournament at this absolutely gorgeous piece of golf course, the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen in your life. Maybe second to the Masters. It is absolutely fabulous this morning.
Wow.
Yes, we do. Yeah. Can you see some of this? Can you take Timm Ham is with me from you're also coming to us live from a golf course as well, right?
I am. I am at
golf.
the retreat in Cleburne, Texas, where we helped Johnny Gerber and I helped host the Airway Warriors charity golf tournament yesterday, and I'll get into our scoring and how we did a little bit later in the show. But fine event out here, the first annual Airway Warriors charity tournament.
Oh wow! So we're both doing first annuals here.
Yeah,
and this is also benefits the veterans as well and young entrepreneurs. The Kevin Harrington Foundation. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Hopefully, Kevin will find time to jump over here. Very busy man this morning. Very busy man in his life. Kevin Harrington. You know him, Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank. He was the creator of Shark Tank, the show. It was on the first few seasons. Great infomercial guy. My friend Brian Fasula. They've worked a lot together, and I believe he's one of the key members out here at the Pelican as well. This golf course used to be called Bel Air, and they totally transformed it into kind of a, dare I say, the Augusta of Florida. It is absolutely, it is absolutely pristine out here. I mean, you know, it's like just like the Masters. Try to find a weed out here. You can't do it. It is the most manicured golf course I think I've ever seen next to Augusta. And it's very similar. It's got a lot of tall oak trees, not as many trees as Augusta, obviously, but they play the Annika here every year, one of the premier LPGA tournaments presented by Gamebridge. And last year, the Annika was won by Nelly Korda. What a scene it was out here as Nelly won, I think, for the 7th time. She won, equaling an LPGA record share by Beth Daniel and a couple others. So it was, and you know, obviously Nelly lives right down the road here, so we say, in Bradenton, not far away. So she's very familiar with the course, and we're right here off of 18. I think we have one of our cameras if you want to pop that up. 18 is a fabulous hole, big lake right in front of the hole. They put and we got the Sunday pin here as well, back right. So you got to carry over the water to get to the pin. There's a big kind of hog back in the middle of the green that feeds down to where that is. You get to the right side of it, you're good. You get to the left side of it, you're screwed. Great finishing hole. And Nelly, I was here for the final round. I think she had a lead, and she said she didn't hit her drive very well, but looked pretty good to me. And she had about 160, 170. I think actually she had more than a stroke lead, because I was very surprised that she went at the pin. She went the furthest carry over the water. She could have bailed out left and really made 5 and won the tournament if I'm remembering correctly. But she went right at the pin and cleared the water by about 2 yards.
Of course.
And came. I think she had about a 15-footer for birdie coming down downhill, and she 2-putted for the win, as I recall. I could be wrong, but it was. But I remember saying to myself, "Why would you go at that?" Very similar to Rory at Augusta at 13. Like, why are you going at that? You don't need to. But you know, the greats figure it out, and she did, and she won, and the rest is history. So this is the venue that we're out here today.
She went on a tear last year, similar to Scotty's, where didn't she win like a boatload of tournaments in a row?
Yeah, she did. She did. World number 1 at the time, and just a fabulous player. And, you know, if I'm being completely honest, my favorite ladies player, next to Brittany Lincecum.
Sure.
Who is now retired. And this was Brittany's last event here. She retired in Friends and Family, which was awesome. Her dad was here, did a bunch of interviews with her dad and her family, and her huge contingent was here. Of course, she grew up here, not far from here at Seminole. And so she had all her family and friends, 3-time major champion on the LPGA Tour. Like she won, 16 tournaments or some crazy amount. Brittany Lincecum. Yeah. So there was a couple of really great storylines going on. Not only Nelly Korda winning for the 7th time, but Brittany's last event, which was really, really sentimental and wonderful all at the same time. I'm guessing probably Brittany will be out here playing today. Hopefully she'll be out here. We'll get her on the show. But absolutely an incredible tournament. And I implore everybody to get out here to the Annika, get your tickets. It is, just this venue alone is worth the price of admission. Walking around here is amazing. I've never played it, so today will be my first chance to play it, and I'm absolutely thrilled and excited to be able to get out there and play it. So looking forward to that, and we'll tell you all more about the Kevin Harrington Foundation as we go through the day. All right, bunch of guys already in talking this morning about the hockey game last night, and it's interesting. I was on the way over here. I was listening to I listened to a bunch of clips from the exit interviews, so I listened to a lot more of them on the way over here, courtesy of 102.5 HD, The Bone, as they were playing those Lightning interviews in full, and listening to Julien Brisebois and some of the players talk about the physicality that went on in the series, and then you see it last night. How Sam Bennett comes across, creases Stolars, the goalie, right in the back of the head with an elbow, takes him out of the game. Now, he also got hit by a puck earlier in the mask and kept playing. So I don't think that's what got him concussed. I don't think so, but maybe. I don't know, but because he kept playing, and typically pucks to the mask are not going to concuss a goalie. I haven't seen that. Maybe you have, Tim. But elbows to the back of the head will. Elbows to the back of the head will. Yeah. And at this point, I think Stolars was playing fantastic. It was a 4-1 hockey game, and it ends up being a 5-4 hockey game as who was it that came in? Wall came in. He was not good, and it almost cost him the game. So here we go again with the Panthers, with the headhunting and using it as a strategy to win a series. I don't want to come off, and I probably am coming off this way, especially as a Lightning employee, whining about the series and how physical it was. But you just, the more I look at it, the more you talk about it, it was absolutely a factor in the Lightning losing the series. Hagel was suspended for a game for his hit, which was ridiculous compared to the headhunting that went on with the other hits. And as Hagel said, if he touches the puck, it's a completely legal hit, and he's going in while he's making the decision. Barkov is going to touch the puck, and the only reason he didn't touch the puck is because he got his stick lifted. So if he doesn't get his stick lifted, it's in it by the when you're going to make a hit as he's going for the puck, you can't at the split second say, oh well, he didn't touch the puck, I got to back off, right? But he didn't shy away from it. He understands it, but technically that's what made it a penalty and a suspension. But in the flow of the game, it wasn't even close to as dirty as Mikola's hit. The boarding hit that he got called for a 5-minute major wasn't close to what Ekblad did to Hagel. So, and then here we see again. And it's hard to imagine that the Panthers are not, the way these games are playing out, they're not using this as a strategy. Like we're going to be able to get away with whatever we want in the playoffs because that's kind of the way they do it. And, of course, Colin Campbell, head of director of operations, his son is the assistant GM, but whatever. Of course, I would never, make that. I'm just making a connection. I would never make a charge.
You're not insinuating anything. Yeah.
Of course, just simply bringing it up, just to make sure everybody's aware of everything that's going on. You make your own decisions as far as that goes. But, here we go again. Another key player for the other team is knocked out with a concussion. How many times have we seen that in other series? Not a lot. And certainly
not this year.
Not by a same team. Not this year, not, in some type of pattern. It's happened before. Yes, absolutely. It's happened before. But key players, 2 key players, like maybe the most key players in the series back to back. Coincidence? Michael LaRue is in here this morning. Says Bennett not expected to face discipline for collision with Stolars. How is that possible?
Of course not.
How is that possible? Yeezy says dirty Panthers, but they might have just won the series. That backup goalie was awful. Hopefully he was just rusty. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Wall's been pretty good. Wall's been pretty good through the year, but I haven't checked the numbers as of late. I could be wrong. So, it's what do you guys think? I'd love to hear your comments on this. Danny Boy Kane says no supplemental discipline for Sam Bennett per Emily Kaplan. How is that possible? Unless they're going to say that the puck to the face caused the concussion. Because if I'm not mistaken, Stolars was I think I heard he was taken out on a stretcher, and he got sick. He threw up on the bench.
That's concussion.
Yeah, I heard
right
that this morning in a report from ESPN. Yeah, so
those goalie masks are meant to stop pucks. They are designed to stop pucks. That's part of the point.
What's that?
Yeah, sorry, my internet's bad. Goalie masks are designed to stop pucks. Like that's what they're for. They're made that way. They're cushioned on the front for the goalie on purpose. They're not meant to stop elbows.
Exactly. They don't have big padding on the back. Right. And maybe when you play the Panthers, you're going to need to wear full helmets. Because you have the opening at it's interesting that both of those elbows came to the back of the head, or no, I think Hagel's was to the chin actually, but kind of from behind, kind of from the side. Right. So I don't know, coincidence.
Doesn't look like it.
How is there? I mean, if that's the hit, if that's a hit to the head that puts Stolars out. How can there not be discipline? I mean, especially with the fact that it's the same team doing the same stuff 2 series in a row, getting key players out of the series.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm making too much of this, Parter, but it seems to me to be an issue. And I don't want to sound like a whiner here because they took the Lightning out.
I don't understand how it's not a bigger story nationally. Like, because nobody likes Florida except people in South Florida, right? Like the Panthers aren't a beloved organization. How is this not a bigger story nationally?
I don't get it. I don't get it. I do not get it. But, the Maple Leafs got the win, 5-4. They hold on to win it, so they take a 1-0 series lead. I mean, they were dominating that game. They were absolutely dominating that game for 2 periods. They were, and I was a little bit, frankly, I was a little bit upset. Because I kind of felt like Toronto was handling the physicality and the pressure of the Panthers much better than the Lightning did, if I'm being completely honest. And I also think, the Maple Leafs were playing with a lot of confidence. They were finding ways out of the zone much easier than the Lightning did, which I think was a key to their game last night. And suddenly Bobrovsky wasn't as good. But here's something that the Leafs did that the Lightning did not. They got in front of Bobrovsky. Almost every one of those goals, not everyone, but a couple of those goals were with traffic in front, and he couldn't see. And that's something that the Lightning did not really do well. I want to go back and watch the series again over the next week or so. But that was my sense as watching, because I'm doing, especially the home games, I'm doing a lot of different stuff during the game. So it's hard to really zero in on what's going on. But it was my feeling. I kind of said this to Andrew Chuck while I was watching the game with him down on the set there, the TV set, that I'm like, does it seem like there's not as much traffic in front? He's like, yeah, we got to get better in front of the net. We just got to get more traffic in front of the net. And it's one of the reasons Bobrovsky was so good. So, and listen to Julien Brisebois in his exit interview. I thought he made some really good points about Kucherov that, if you win these games, suddenly the playmaking ability is amplified of what Kucherov did. And also, Braden Point is, game 2, was it game 2? Where he got 2 glorious opportunities right in front on unbelievable passes from Kucherov. He doesn't put it in the net. If he puts it in the back of the net, suddenly we're talking about Kucherov's playmaking. He's got, 4 points? Maybe he has 6, 7, 8 points. Guys just did not put the puck in the back of the net. He authored some phenomenal opportunities for Gensel, who usually doesn't miss from there. He misses. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that went the Panthers' way. The Seth Jones go-ahead goal, I didn't know this, but that shot from the point actually went through the skate of Ryan McDonough through the skate. And the puck can barely fit through there, but it actually went through the skate and then butterflied and went past Vasilevsky. I mean, just crazy stuff. That's just crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. So anyway, as he said, the victors write the history. And when you win, that's all the talk. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Panthers were the better team. I think they were. I mean, they've won 8 of the last 10 playoff games. And that's just, it is what it is. That's not puck luck. They're a better team right now, but marginally better. I think they're marginally better. But the Lightning have to figure it out. They got to figure it out. I think in the offseason, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. You got to get a little bigger. You got to get a little bit physical, a little bit more. People we've had these discussions on Twitter. People are like, listen, who went after he took that shot on Hagel? Nobody. Where was the pushback? Where was the ass whooping that should have followed that? There wasn't. And if you're John Cooper, you got to feel like, you don't want to get it. You're up 2-1, right? And you don't want to take a bad penalty in that situation. You're up 2-1 right after they score, the 2 goals within 11 seconds after the Hagel hit. So, now do you want to go out and do something stupid and get a penalty and put them on the power play? No, you can't do that. You're just going to have to wait for another time to get that kind of revenge. But did it ever happen? And as Hagel said in his interview, he's got something coming for it. It's going to be next season. It's going to be when. It doesn't help you win the series right now, and that's what's frustrating. That's what's very frustrating. Some other comments. Thank you, Rick, for jumping in here. Always good getting in the golf set. I hope John Elway doesn't show up at either golf course today. How about that? Monkeying around on the golf course and, which we've all done some stupid things on carts on golf courses, but when it ends up like that, that's terrible. That's terrible. So stop joking about that, Rick. Jeez, Pete, man, what's wrong with you? Good morning to you, more right rudder, and good morning to you, John Hill. Party for the party, yeah. Bring something to the party. So yeah, I think Timmy dropped out. His Wi-Fi dropped out a little bit here, so because we're going to talk a little Scotty Scheffler golf. But I want to tell you, while I got a moment here, a bit more about the Kevin Harrington Foundation. As I mentioned, many of you know him from Shark Tank. The foundation leverages his extensive entrepreneurial experience to guide and support aspiring business leaders. That is something that is desperately needed in our youth education here. The Harrington Foundation is a philanthropic organization dedicated to empowering youth and honoring veterans by fostering entrepreneurship through dedicated support and resources. Mission and vision of the foundation is to empower young individuals as future leaders and honor veterans by providing the tools and resources necessary to pursue entrepreneurial endeavors. Focusing on education, mentorship, and financial support, the Harrington Foundation aims to create a world where both youth and veterans have equal opportunities to realize their entrepreneurial dreams, driving innovation, economic growth, and community enrichment. We talked a little bit about the entrepreneurship hub that they have, and learn how to be an entrepreneur and learn how to start your own business, what that's all about. Talking about this last night. This to her kids going to public school. Stuff like this is always kind of seemed as extracurricular. Going to the Enterprise Hub and learning about being an entrepreneur. Why isn't that a regular part of learning more about finance and learning more about investing and learning more about getting into those type of entrepreneurial situations? So it's very much needed, and it's something that Kevin Harrington is devoted to his foundation to. And I see him right here, so hopefully I can get him over here. So, Sergio says, "All right, in the break." So we're going to take a quick break if I can get to this, and we'll come back on the other side and hopefully clean up this internet situation. So we're live here at the Pelican for the first annual Kevin Harrington Foundation Golf Tournament.
Ciao, Paolo Tini
right
here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted #3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. It's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. Summer is coming. Do not get caught with your unit unprepared. Your AC unit, of course. The awesome folks at Third Generation Plumbing and AC have a special going on right now. You get a free 1-year maintenance package with any purchase of a new unit. They have special 60-month financing as well, so you don't need a huge chunk up front. Third Generation has an impeccable reputation built over 30 years of doing business. They do plumbing, AC, mechanical work, anything you need around the house. They are trusted folks. Go to the website and read the 5-star reviews. Deidre said, great company that always arrives timely. We have used them for our AC both in home and business and have been very happy. The staff is knowledgeable and professional. I would recommend Third Generation again and again. So give Third Generation a call at 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, I think we're back on here with the JP Peterson Show. You guys in the comments, you could tell me, see me, and hear me. We're having a little internet issue out here at the Pelican, so we'll try to reconnect here. Hopefully, if you can see me and hear me, let me know. We'll double we'll check her. Scott Reynolds will hopefully be joining us at 10:30. We're going to talk a little Buccaneers about the upcoming mini camp, see how that is going to go. We got some interesting players coming in, not only the draft picks, but the UDFAs. I think everybody can't wait to see Desmond Watson, the 460-pound defensive tackle from University of Florida. So we'll, the tush push guy, right? That's supposed to be the tush push guy. So we'll see what he does if he can. I'm going to take another quick break here, and hopefully we'll have everything working here in just a second, and we'll be back with Scott Reynolds. So stay with us. JP Peterson Show. I think we've got this figured out. So don't go anywhere. Be back in a second.
Hey, are you tired and broke from going to those overpriced sports bars with $18 martinis and $20 burgers? Well, head over to Riveters, now the official sports bar and grill of the J.P. Peterson Show. I love the atmosphere. It's uniquely nostalgic American, recalling the days of Rosie the Riveter. The staff is incredibly friendly and welcoming in a laid-back, casual indoor-outdoor setting. And check out the reviews, and you'll hear this. Best Reuben sandwich ever. Amazing wings, burgers, and prime rib. The welcome you get when you walk in is incredible. The staff will call you by name. You're not just customers. You're really part of the family. So go say hello to Maha, Taylor, Serena, May, Courtney, Jamie, Christina, Lauren. Tell them JP sent you. This is a real sports bar, and we love our home teams. And they're playing the games on the TVs all the time. You won't have to ask to put the Lightning, the Rays, the Bucs, or the Rowdies on. They do the UFC fights for free, no cover. Big screens and TVs everywhere. It's the place to watch sports in Tampa. Great fresh food, amazing staff, great drinks, insane happy hour, 3 to 7 every day. Race season is here, so make sure you stop by Riveters before or after the game. It's just north of 275 on Dale Mabry, just south of Steinbrenner Field. See you at Riveters. Diamond Days are back at the Golden Diamond Source, Tampa Bay's largest jewelry superstore. You know, I love Diamond Days because right now you can get up to 20% off all the diamonds in the inventory, including April's birthstone. Plus, you can take advantage of 0% financing for up to 5 years. This means that if you finance $5,000, your monthly payment would only be $83. Best of all, your Golden Diamond Source diamond never loses its value. And listen up, all soon-to-be newlyweds, here's your chance to win a $2,500 shopping spree at the Golden Diamond Source, along with a wedding cake for up to 100 guests, created by the renowned celebrity chef, The Cake Girl, as seen on the Today Show. Entering is easy. Simply visit the Golden Diamond Source on Omerton Road for your chance to win big. If you want your special someone to say yes, make sure it's a Golden Diamond Source diamond. Visit us at 3800 Omerton Road in Clearwater. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays!
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we're coming to you live from the Pelican Golf Course here in beautiful Bel Air. Folks are streaming in right now to get ready for the first annual Kevin Harrington Foundation Golf Tournament. Kevin just stopped by here, so we're going to chat with him around 11 o'clock and talk more about his foundation and some of the great things that are going on in business today as well. Great businessman, wealth of knowledge in terms of entrepreneurship. So if you have any interest in running a business, or we'll talk a little Shark Tank as well, one of my favorite shows I think when I'm surfing around, I come across Shark Tank, boom, I stop almost every single time. So Kevin Harrington will join us here in just a little bit. Right now, let me drop in the great Scott Reynolds, and hopefully he can hear me. Can you hear me, Scotty?
Yeah, got you loud and clear, JP.
Good, man. Yeah, we're having a little internet issue out here at the beautiful Pelican. Look at this. Can you see behind me?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. You ever been out to the Pelican here?
I have not. but you're outdoors and I'm not, so I'm jealous naturally.
Yeah, it is a beautiful, beautiful day for golf. I've never played here too, so I'm very excited about teeing it up and putting my horrible game on display here today. But we'll have fun as we always do. How are you, partner? How's things?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good.
Excited to join you.
Yeah, well, we got lots to talk about. I'm excited to, it's one thing to see these players drafted, right? But I'm always excited to see them on the grass. And I know it's underwear football and it's all that stuff, and it's more of an orientation than anything else. But it's still kind of football, and we're on a football field, and we see all these new shiny toys. What are you most excited about this weekend to see these guys?
I'm excited to see just Tez Johnson out in the football field. I was at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, and he is just sensational in terms of yards after catch, the slipperiness, the elusiveness that he has. He's a bit of a dynamo. So I'm interested to see that again, maybe a little bit more up close and personal, and more attention on him now that he's a Buccaneer rather than just one of 100 players at the Senior Bowl. Also, too, Benjamin Morrison. I'm not expecting him to do much. He might be off on the side field with the trainer during some of it, and then taking some mental reps. Doesn't sound like they're going to be throwing him into the mix. He only worked out a couple of days before the draft, so he's not even really in football shape yet. Didn't do any combine training or anything like that. So they're going to ease him into it. But I'm curious to see how all of these draft picks, move about. And there's going to be some undrafted free agents too that are going to get an interesting look. Ben Chekwum is a great story. Highest paid undrafted free agent, not just in Tampa Bay, but around the league this year. Only played 2 years of football at Georgia State, but a very good athlete. Played offensive tackle. He's pretty much with that guaranteed money, $250,000 in guaranteed money, maybe $300,000. He's already going to be guaranteed a roster spot, or I should say on the practice squad at least. But he's got a chance to be one of those developmental guys, and I don't think there's a better offensive line coach in terms of developing talent than Kevin Carberry right here in Tampa. He's just taken Cody Mauch to the next level. He has, I think Graham Barton's going to be a star in this league. We've seen Luke Gedeke made strides under his tutelage last year. Even Ben Bredesen kind of went from being a journeyman to a guy that ended up making $7 million a year and getting a 3-year deal. So those are a couple of the names I'm interested in seeing.
What's his background at Georgia State? Why is he? You see these guys that maybe they don't make it to college right away. They get injured in high school. Some kind of slip through the crack kind of guys.
He's a Nigerian guy that they had open tryouts at Georgia State, and he just was too good of an athlete. And so, like a lot of Nigerian-born people, they just don't have any exposure to American football over there until you come to the States. And he, thank goodness, he tried out, and he showed well. I mean, Josh Capo from Pewter Report had posted some video of him going up against Mike Green when Georgia State played against Marshall, and he did wonders on a guy that I think a lot of people had as a first round graded pass rusher in Mike Green. I think the character concerns caused him to slip to Baltimore in the second round. But Chekwum is a very interesting guy for sure, and I think he looks the part, and we'll see him up close and in person in action on Friday and Saturday.
Well, of course, the biggest name that will be there is probably not even Ibuka. It's Shiloh Sanders. Yeah,
well, either that or Desmond Watson, right? I'm curious to see how big of a man Desmond Watson is, too. You say the biggest name, you have to start there, but then I get what you're saying about Shiloh Sanders, too, yeah.
That's an interesting situation. I mean, obviously, the Bucs aren't hugely deep at safety. He was undrafted for a reason. I think, I don't know if he's going to make this team, but, obviously with the name, there'll be a lot of attention. People are like, who's going to play first, Shiloh or Shudor? What do you think his chances are of making this team? Do you have any inkling at all?
I mean, he is probably the weakest position on the team in terms of experience, depth. And of course, he doesn't have any experience. He's a rookie coming in, but you look at the depth chart, Tyke Smith is moving to strong safety. He will be the replacement for Jordan Whitehead. So you have one starter there. Obviously, Antoine Winfield Jr. is the starter at the other safety spot at free safety. Then you've got 2 experienced backups, but guys that you don't want to see start for many snaps or many games, etc. Kayvon Merriweather, who's the strong safety, and then Christian Izzian, who can kind of do it all. He can play free, he can play strong, he can play nickel. He's kind of that super sub in the secondary. So outside of those 4 guys, though, that's kind of it. They have a couple of players that were on the practice squad all of last year, which is good because it means the Buccaneers like them and invested time in them being on the practice squad all year in Rashad Wisdom and Marcus Banks. But at the same time, JP, when this team needed depth at safety and even some guys to come in and play, they didn't promote either one of those guys from the practice squad. So that's kind of telling too. They grabbed Mike Edwards off the waiver wire. Shoot, they even re-signed Ryan Neal for like a couple of weeks. So but at the same time, keep in mind, when you're a practice squad player, you're not getting any reps in the Bucs defense. You are essentially playing the role of a defensive back, whether it be a safety or corner or a linebacker, wherever they need you. You're playing that role for the opposite team going up against Tampa Bay's starting offense in practice. So it's not like Marcus Banks or Rashad Wisdom were getting meaningful reps in Todd Bowles' defense from, say, September through January. That really just wasn't happening. They were sitting in the meetings, learning it all, but everything on the field they were doing was scout team work for the Bucs offensive opponents. So that may have been a reason there too. But, Shiloh, we'll see. As I've mentioned on the Pewter Report podcast, and I even did a Pewter Pulse video on this, the interesting thing is this kid has been in the Deion Sanders orbit all of his career, whether outside of his years at South Carolina where he didn't play much, but he went to Jackson State, certainly played there, 4 interceptions in 2 years, and then went to finish his career at Colorado, played 2 years there. He's used to having cameras, social media in his face 24/7 as being the son of Deion Sanders. He was a sidekick in the Deion Sanders show, right? You have Shedeur, you have Shiloh, and Travis Hunter to a degree, the kind of the adopted son of Deion Sanders, and then you've got Deion, who is the star of the show, and so he's used to the fame, the notoriety, the attention, and all of that. And I would just love to see for him to have the best chance of success. Come in and be humble. This is not about social media. This is not about TikTok and Twitch and Reels and all that stuff. This is about football. Come in and learn and play football and leave the spectacle back in Colorado. Now, maybe he was just an accomplice in all of that, right? He wasn't the star of the show. It was mostly Deion. Then it was Shedeur, right, as the quarterback. And then you've got Shiloh. Notice Shiloh didn't have his number retired in Colorado. It was just Shedeur, Travis Hunter. As you mentioned, he's not that good of a player. He went undrafted for a reason. He ran 4.59. You put on the Kansas State Colorado film. It's bad. He takes bad angles when it comes to tackling. He's more of a hitter than a wrap-up guy. There are some holes in his game, but he's also coming to a good situation in Tampa. And we'll see what happens. Maybe he makes the practice squad. Maybe he makes the 53-man roster. Maybe he's a dynamite special teams player. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to evaluate him as a Buccaneer rather than a Buffalo. He gets a clean slate with me. But my whole thing is for him to have the best chance of success. He almost has to forget his last name is Sanders. Exactly. Just call me Shiloh. Show up. Call me Shiloh safety, right? And let me be a safety in Tampa Bay. And maybe that helps him. I will say this, though. It's interesting that the Buccaneers didn't reach out to Shiloh Sanders. He fired his father, Deion Sanders, because it wasn't going too well, according to Shiloh in his own words. Hired Drew Rosenhaus, who has a great relationship with Jason Light, with Mike Greenberg. Yes. And it was Rosenhaus who got him on the team. He's the one that called Jason Light or texted him, whatever, and said, hey, can you, would you mind signing my guy? And keep in mind, Drew Rosenhaus has had former Buccaneer players, whether it be Eric Redd back in the day, Warren Sapp, but they didn't deal with Mike Greenberg and Jason Light at the time, but Shaq Barrett was one of those guys, right? So they do have a good relationship with Drew, and sometimes it's I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of thing. And this is one of those instances where you do a favor for the agent. Hey, you need another safety? Why not? Let's give the kid a chance, and we'll see what happens.
Scott Reynolds joining us here for the Pewter Report. And by the way, Dion, you don't need to come to minicamp. Have you heard anything about him coming here with the?
No,
with the Bucs? I don't think they got that. I'm not going to say they're going to say, Dion, you can't come.
Yeah.
But I would hope that he's self-aware enough to, I don't need to be there. Just let him.
I think at some point in time we'll see Dion, right? I mean, that's his son. He's going to come there. But at the same time, it's like the hierarchy is Shador, right? So I would suspect that maybe the Cleveland Browns get a visit from Dion beforehand, and that might or may not go well. And then maybe Jacksonville with Travis Hunter, because again, that's out of all of the Sanders kids, the adopted Travis Hunter is the best one. He went number 2 overall for a reason. He is a stud. So I would suspect that on the Deion Sanders offseason tour, Tampa might be the third stop on that after stops in Cleveland and Jacksonville. That would be my guess.
Yeah. Well, and there's a bunch of other guys I want to see, and one of them is David Walker. He's such an interesting guy, and I'm sure you've seen the video from the combine of him doing the flips and everything. Yeah. He's an interesting athlete, a really, really interesting athlete. 6'1", 263. Obviously 6'1" why he fell in the draft, but we've seen some 6'1" pass rushers. Von Miller comes to mind. Shaq Barrett comes to mind. That can do this thing, and he can use, he's not going to be a length guy maybe that's coming from the back and knocking the ball out, but he gets, he runs the hump, right? He runs that hump, and you can get around these big 6-7 tackles by going under him. That's, you can make a living out of that really, really well. So I'm really interested to see his bend, his athleticism, all that.
He's got great instincts. He finds the football, right? And that was like the biggest knock on Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. Didn't have good instincts. Like really good athlete, but just not an instinctive pass rusher. Too many times would run past the quarterback. And the thing is when you're running that natural arc, and if you look at some of the best to ever do it, Simeon Rice, Neil Smith back in the day, Derek Thomas, you're setting a trap for the quarterback when you kind of like act like you're going behind the quarterback or you're at the quarterback level. Okay, the only place the quarterback's going to go is underneath you. So you need to be able to start to threaten the outside edge, run that arc, get at the quarterback level, and then slam the brakes on, and then know that you need to work back inside. And that's where you want the quarterback. You don't want the quarterback going outside of you because then there's no help. Then he has the sidelines, he can run, he can throw, whatever, right? But if you cut off the sidelines, that's what setting the edge means. If you cut off the sidelines, get to the quarterback level, and then make your move to work back inside, that's where you get those sacks that may not be an 8-yard sack, but it might be a 4-yard sack, right? And more importantly, it kills the drive. And if you miss, you're forcing that quarterback right into a defensive tackle, right into a linebacker, right into a safety who's in the box. You're forcing him back inside. And that's where the instinctiveness comes from. And you see that on film with David Walker. It's just something that Joe Tryon-Shoyinka did not have. He would like run the arc and run right past the quarterback, and then the quarterback just runs free and has all day to run or throw. And that happened over and over for 5 years, unfortunately. He just could not understand that concept. But this kid has it. He doesn't have long arms, as you mentioned, JP, but he's got very violent hands. And hands are what get you free, right? When those offensive linemen want to latch onto you, you need to have violent hands. If you don't have long arms to prevent them from reaching onto you, when they latch onto you, you got to have the violent hands, and he has that. So I love the fact he averaged just about 10 sacks a season. I think his lowest sack total was 8. So he is a consistent hunter of the quarterback, and I think he's going to fit in really well in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and one of my questions about him was why didn't he leave Central Arkansas?
His brother, played at Central Arkansas, right? I mean, it's like that's a great story. The other thing too is you went to Florida State. Did you ever consider leaving Florida State?
Hell to the no.
Okay, I went to Kansas State for 5 years, unfortunately, plus summer school because I wasn't sharpest tool in the shed, and I decided to switch majors. My junior year, which means I basically burned a whole year's worth of credits that wouldn't transfer or apply. But I never thought about leaving Kansas State. I found my fit. You found your fit. And David Walker found his fit once he was at Central Arkansas. I mean, he never left the state of Arkansas. He transferred from a smaller school within Arkansas, but he never left the state. And when he was playing with his brother there, like that was his fit. And the NIL money didn't matter. Getting SEC offers or whatever didn't matter. That was his fit. And I think that's what you're looking for. Oh, and by the way, most Tampa Bay Buccaneer players, when they hit free agency, they stay. Why? Because they find their fit right here in Tampa, in red and pewter, playing for Jason Light, playing for the Blazers, playing for Todd Bowles, and playing for their teammates. So this is exactly the type of culture guy you're looking for, because if he has a good time as a Buccaneer, when it comes time for the contract to come up, he's probably going to stay.
Yeah. Scott Reynolds joining us here. So we mentioned Desmond Watson, the 465 pound. I don't know where he's at. Have you had a 437?
Yep.
Wow.
Making progress, heading in the right direction.
So what do you think the plan? I mean, I kind of jokingly said, do you bring him up on the practice squad when you play the Eagles for the tush push?
Good.
Or do they have a plan for him? I mean, that's never been really a thing where you have a certain player, because teams can come take your guys out the practice squad. So you don't develop a certain player for a certain strategy. But if ever there was one, this would be the situation. But I think, do the Bucs also have something else in mind for him? I mean, they're going to make him drop some weight and become a real 3 technique, short yardage type guy. What do you think their plan is?
And I've heard this too. And listen, I'm not a Florida Gator, first and foremost. I don't watch a lot of Florida football unless there's some draft prospects I'm really interested in. It's just not my team that I follow. But I've heard and I've seen some comments on social media from Florida Gators fans who say, yeah, it's cool that we have a Gator on the Buccaneers, but like he's also lazy. Right. And, he didn't do much. And that's true. He was a reserve for 4 years. He was never a starter. Obviously, with the conditioning, he can only play X amount of snaps. Right. And so, he's on the roster. It's not like you have to put him on the practice squad. There's no practice squad in college. But the fact that he entered college around 380 to 400 and then the weight went up and not down, that's not a good sign. And it kind of speaks to that laziness. And listen, I'm not, dogging the kid out. He did admit at his pro day that he does have a weight problem, that he is addicted to food. I mean, and that's obvious. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with admitting your problems. It's just, what are you going to do about it? Well, first step is he's down from 464 to 437. That's great. He's heading in the right direction. I think optimally, he's got to be somewhere between 380 to 400 to really have a legitimate chance to make the practice squad. Not the active roster, but the practice squad. If he gets down to 380 and 375, where he's dropped almost 100 pounds, he's showing this team how serious he is, and maybe they take a chance on him, and he's defensive tackle 6 on the depth chart. Maybe that's what happens, because he is a good athlete. He can stuff the A gap. There's no doubt about it. He's limited outside of that, but short yardage, goal line situations, that's his calling card, and that's what you want your backup nose tackle to be able to do. The other thing I'll say is his role model when it comes to football is Vita Vea, another big man who's had some troubles with this weight. Vita Vea most recently came into camp, became an OTAs, the best shape of his professional career, closer to that 347 on the roster than any other year. And we've seen Vita come in overweight before in the OTAs and training camp. Bruce Arians even called him out a couple times, and he had to drop that weight. So what better situation for Desmond Watson to be in the same defensive line room as his professional idol, where he can learn from a guy. Like, in other words, if it doesn't happen in Tampa, it's not going to happen anywhere else. Like, he's not going to be a better fit in any other team than right here with Vita Vea and the Buccaneers. And let's see what happens. But I like the fit. There's no risk involved. It's a risk worth taking. And we'll root for the kid and see what happens.
Scott Reynolds joining us here from the Pewter Report. I was watching the great package video that the Bucs put out on Ibuka's first day in Tampa Bay, and the first thing that strikes you is, man, this organization has to get together, man. They do not lack any details. Like
Yep.
coming in, I mean, you got Brian Ford's already prepped him on Tampa Bay. You know,
Yep.
this is what you say, and this is what I mean.
Right.
You know, the plane ride. This year they had them at the Advent Health Training Center.
Yeah.
They had an event for him
Welcome to the crew. Yeah. Right.
Welcome to the crew. I mean, it's all encompassing, and the way he just so effortlessly handled all of it. You know, there weren't really awkward moments. It just seems so natural, which is hard to do. It's really hard to do when you're going into a new environment like that.
It really is.
Yeah. Intelligence, you can just see, is off the charts. His intelligence is off the charts. His football IQ is off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
He is such a damn good fit here. And you know, we've said it a million times. He's a Chris Godwin clone. He is.
He really is.
Chris came in, he was already a polished professional. Yeah. And this is exactly what you're seeing in the book. How impressed are you with him? Yeah,
that's the word, JP. It's the other term for NFL football is pro football. Pro is short for professional. And when you draft these players, you want them to be pro athletes. You want them to be professionals and fit into professional football and have long NFL careers. So I know the word character is used a lot by the Bucs front office and coaching staff, and deservedly so. But really, when you say character, what you mean is professionalism. Are you going to understand that this is a job that not only is your livelihood on the line and your family's livelihood, but your teammates and the coaching staff and the front office who drafted you? If you don't perform, you could cause a chain reaction that could cost people their jobs. And the only jobs that you really want to cost are, honestly, your competition in training camp for your roster spot, right? Like, you want to battle against other receivers. And as a first-round pick, he's pretty much guaranteed to make the team, right? But you understand what I'm saying. The more professionals that you can have come in the building as rookies, the more chances of success you're going to have. So, you know, I understand Jason Light said, yeah, hey, we'll take a chance on an immature guy because we have enough veterans and mature players on the roster, but you're not looking for the immature guys. You're not looking for projects and guys to, you know, experiment with. Well, we'll see if we can, you know, turn this kid from being immature to mature. Like, no, you want the mature guys. And I think that is why this team is hitting on so many players, because they come in ready for business. They come in ready to realize their NFL dreams, and they assimilate very well. Because, like, when you are a lion and you run in that pride of lions, right, you fit in. But if you're a jackal, okay, and you're trying to, like, embed yourself in a pride of lions, those lions are going to eat you. And I think that's the culture that's been created here is they're looking for lions to run in this pack, this pride of lions.
No insults to douchebags is what you're saying.
Exactly. And the
immortal words of Jason Light, no assholes or douchebags.
Yeah. Right.
No jackals. Right.
Yep.
How about that? How about the Jason Light tour?
That was nice. Yeah, that was fun.
And him laying it out, you know, like this is what we're kind of looking for and what we're not looking for.
It's just a waste of time. When you take a chance on those players that may have the skill set, it's just a waste of time. And at some point in time, it's like, what is that old parable about the scorpion and the frog, right? The scorpion wanted to cross the river. And so it asked the frog, hey, you know, you can swim. Would you mind taking me across the river? And the frog said, why would I want to do that? Because you're a scorpion and you sting and I don't want to die. And then the scorpion talks the frog into it. And the frog says, okay. Well, and the scorpion says, well, listen, if I sting you, we're halfway across the river, then we're both going to drown. And like, why would I want that? So the frog's like, okay, the frog gets suckered, right? So he gets the scorpion on his back halfway across the river. What does the scorpion do? It stings the frog. So as they start sinking down to the bottom of the river, both to die, the frog looks at the scorpion and says, why did you do that, scorpion? Why did you sting me? Now we're both going to die. And the scorpion says to the frog, because I'm a scorpion. That's what I do. Yeah. And the Bucs have had those guys before, the Austin Safarian Jenkinses, the Chris Bakers, the Antonio Browns. At some point in time,
they're going to sting you.
They're going to sting you. It's only a matter of time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so Jason Light he's had enough of that. And he's just like, no scorpions allowed, man. We're not doing this.
Yeah, that's a great parable and very very apropos here. And the two defensive backs, Jacob Parrish, who you watch more tape and film with him at Kansas State than anybody.
I like him, yeah.
And Benjamin Morrison, who I guess is not going to do much. You're not worried about the hip injury, right? That's it. Those are genetic things.
No, I'm not, because he had the exact same surgery done in high school, and he goes to Notre Dame and has 6 interceptions as a freshman. Okay, so he made the team. He was healthy enough to make the starting roster, right? To be a starter as a freshman, and then he goes out there and gets 6 interceptions, right? So he balled out. Coming off of hip surgery. It's the exact same hip surgery on the other hip to kind of take care of a genetic issue that he had that created tightness in his hips. And so the expectation is that he will be fully recovered. And then what can we expect? Well, we can expect kind of like what happened after the first hip surgery. He was a ball hawk. So I don't think that's going to change. Those are natural instincts and abilities he has. Plus, he has great hands. So I would suspect sooner rather than later, certainly by training camp, we'll see a fully healthy Benjamin Morrison on the field competing with Jamel Dean for a starting job. And it may happen sooner than that. It may happen at the mandatory minicamp. It may happen in the latter part of the OTAs, but we'll see.
And, and this is the effect that it has on starters too, because we're kind of focusing on the rookies, but the starters, especially when you draft somebody to take your job, takes you to a whole new level. And frankly, I think, if the Bucs could be publicly honest about that, they're disappointed in the way Jamel has played. He hasn't answered well, and they feel like, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. They drafted a guy who's a first round corner for a reason, and he's there to take your job. So I think this inspires Jamel Dean to be as good as he could possibly be. Yes. Now, I don't think they're going to trade him at this point. No. I guess if they've already tried.
You're better with him on this team. He won a Super Bowl here. He's been in nothing but Todd Bowles' system since 2019. Yeah. He is a great locker room guy. He's a fantastic fit. And when he's healthy, he's a good cover corner. He really is, right? So so either he is the best reserve corner in the NFL if Morrison wins the job, and he's the next guy coming off the bench for either Zion McCollum or Benjamin Morrison, he's the best number 3 corner in the NFL, talent-wise, just the bar none. But if he is the starter, then I really like Benjamin Morrison's opportunity to come off the bench at a moment's notice and step in and make plays, given his ability to start as a true freshman, which is something else Jacob Parrish did at K-State. It's hard to go into a major conference like the Big 12 or a big school like Notre Dame and just crack the starting lineup. But that's what both of these guys did, because they have a high football IQ. Football is won from the neck up. And, and it shows with both of those guys. The thing with Jamel Dean is Benjamin Morrison's either going to push Jamel Dean towards greatness or push him to the bench. Either way, the Buccaneers win. Either way, they win. This is a no-lose proposition for Tampa Bay. And really, as I said on our Peter Report podcast yesterday, we kind of talked about this. Jamel Dean was actually at his best when Sean Murphy-Bunting was pushing him for that starting job. Yep. And Dean ultimately won it, and Sean Murphy-Bunting kind of got pushed to nickel corner, which wasn't bad. But maybe this is the situation with Jamel Dean, where maybe he relaxed a little bit with that big contract. Didn't have any competition, really. It's just, all right, you're assumed to be the starter. So we'll see the best out of Jamel Dean in training camp. And that's either going to really level up Benjamin Morrison, kind of make him his equal, and then maybe they're going to take the chance on the new kid with the better ball skills, etc. Or they're going to say, Jamel rose to the occasion, and Morrison will have his day, and we'll rotate him in a little bit to get his feet wet, but we're not going to throw the rookie into the fire and have him possibly get burned, in his first year, and we'll see what happens. And ultimately, when Jamel gets hurt, because then that's what will happen given the track record, then Benjamin Morrison will be able to come in and save the day.
It's going to be fun to watch, and it all gets started this weekend. What they come in Thursday, first practice is Friday, is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Friday morning, 11:40, and then Saturday as well. So 2 days that the media will have the opportunities. They're in town, I think, through Sunday, but Sunday might be more of a walkthrough, meetings, etc. And then we'll see. We'll see if any of these undrafted free agent tryout players get a look-see as well. Some interesting names there for the undrafted free agents, and we'll see. If some of these guys can make the roster, maybe some of these tryout guys. We saw like Marquise Watts come in as a tryout player a couple years ago, and end up being signed after the rookie minicamp. So there might be 2 or 3 of these tryout players that come in and really wow us and impress us, and we'll see. Jordan McLeod, former USF quarterback, also went to James Madison, Texas State. He, not that they need another quarterback, but he might be signed as an arm in camp.
Yeah.
Tyler Echeverry. He is a running back out of Mount Union that had 2,000 yards combined between rushing and receiving last year for the Raiders. Small school guy, but running back's a position. They might take another running back just because Rachaad White is in a contract here. I don't know that the team with Bucky Irving rising to start him, if they're going to invest in Rachaad White. Rachaad White probably will want more carries elsewhere after the season. So we'll see who ends up impressing the Bucs brass this weekend.
All right, Scotty, tell everybody what you got coming up on Pewter Report this week.
We have special guest Mike Beal, the Bucs Vice President of Player Personnel, will be on the Pewter Report podcast today at 4 o'clock. And he's going to be talking all about undrafted free agents and these tryout players. So if you are curious about that, make sure you tune in today at 4 o'clock on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel. Then tomorrow, we've got Zion McCollum, Bucs cornerback, will be joining us at 4 o'clock as well. No show on Thursday this week because we will be doing a live show on Friday at around 3:30 from the team facility, talking about what we saw at the Bucs minicamp. So a lot of great podcasts coming up on Pewter Report TV. Make sure you check us out on our website, pewterreport.com, for all of the Bucs news this week. And then we've got social media. You can follow us at Pewter Report on Facebook, Instagram, and X.
All right, Scotty, thanks, man. Great stuff as always. You guys are all over it this weekend, so check out all the good stuff they got going on at Pewter Report. I will be watching for sure, and I'll see you on Friday. All right, partner.
See you.
All right, great, Scott Reynolds right there. All right, things are picking up here at the Pelican. Folks getting out on the range, hitting a few balls. Well, I can't wait to get out on that range. That grass looks so perfect, absolutely perfect. Oh, it's just, and for golf geeks like me, you come to a place like this, it's absolutely sensational. All right, I'm going to try to get Kevin Harrington on here. They're the stars of Shark Tank, and of course, the reason we are here today. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back live here at the Pelican right after this.
Hey, are you tired and broke from going to those overpriced sports bars with $18 martinis and $20 burgers? Well, head over to Riveters, now the official sports bar and grill of the J.P. Peterson Show. I love the atmosphere. It's uniquely nostalgic American, recalling the days of Rosie the Riveter. The staff is incredibly friendly and welcoming in a laid-back, casual, indoor-outdoor setting. And check out the reviews, and you'll hear this. Best Reuben sandwich ever. Amazing wings, burgers, and prime rib. The welcome you get when you walk in is incredible. The staff will call you by name. You're not just customers. You're really part of the family. So go say hello to Maha, Taylor, Serena, May, Courtney, Jamie, Christina, Lauren. Tell them JP sent you. This is a real sports bar, and we love our home teams. And they're playing the games on the TVs all the time. You won't have to ask to put the Lightning, the Rays, the Bucs, or the Rowdies on. They do the UFC fights for free, no cover. Big screens and TVs everywhere. It's the place to watch sports in Tampa. Great fresh food, amazing staff, great drinks, insane happy hour, 3 to 7 every day. Race season is here, so make sure you stop by Riveters before or after the game. It's just north of 275 on Dale Mabry, just south of Steinbrenner Field. See you at Riveters. Diamond Days are back at the Golden Diamond Source, Tampa Bay's largest jewelry superstore. You know, I love Diamond Days because right now you can get up to 20% off all the diamonds in the inventory, including April's birthstone. Plus, you can take advantage of 0% financing for up to 5 years. This means that if you finance $5,000, your monthly payment would only be $83. Best of all, your Golden Diamond Source diamond never loses its value. And listen up, all soon-to-be newlyweds, here's your chance to win a $2,500 shopping spree at the Golden Diamond Source, along with a wedding cake for up to 100 guests.
created by the renowned celebrity chef, the Cake Girl, as seen on the Today Show. Entering is easy. Simply visit the Golden Diamond Source on Omerton Road for your chance to win big. If you want your special someone to say yes, make sure it's a Golden Diamond Source diamond. Visit us at 3800 Omerton Road in Clearwater. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 and go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays!
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll on from the Pelican. Get the headphones on here. Kevin Harrington's taking care of some business. Going to come back and join us here in just a little bit. That will give us a chance to talk a little Rays and get your comments in as well. By the way, if you guys have any questions about Shark Tank or anything like that for Kevin Harrington, put them in the comments. We'll be happy to pass them along to you. And don't be like, can you lend me a couple million to start my business? We're not doing that. All right, a couple of comments coming. Did Scott just call Devin White a jackal? I think he did. But Devin's a perfect example of what we're talking about, you know? Now, when they drafted him, were there signs that, maybe he was maybe not a pure team guy? Possibly. It just, I don't remember that, to be quite honest. And obviously when he first got here, he was a great team guy, but something happened along the way. And Devin kind of lost his way. But I do remember, we mentioned Chris Baker. Deshaun Jackson was another guy. Deshaun Jackson was, I'm going to say he's a bad guy, but he was a bad guy for the situation because, you had a Jameis Winston, trying to lead this team. And then you got a guy who's a lot of a me guy who comes in. He's in the ear of the quarterback. I want the ball. I want this. I want that, and then Jameis was a pleaser. He's a pleaser guy, right? So he's trying to please everybody. Going to try to force the ball to Deshaun. Then Deshaun, okay, Jameis got suspended. Deshaun, Fitz is my guy. It's a bad thing. Because Deshaun was about himself. Chris Baker, same thing. Just through the years, we've seen guys come through here who just weren't great athletes, but not all about football. Not all about team. And when you go get a guy like Ibuka, who is, talk about a leader in a locker room like they had at Ohio State. I mean, you got alphas all over the place, first round picks all over the place, not just in the room, in the wide receiver room. You're a leader of that group, and he comes back, you're another year because he wants to play at Ohio State because he's loyal to the program because he's a team guy. And these are the players. Graham Barton, same thing, same makeup, same exact dude, just a lot bigger. And you just see it all through these draft picks when you go meet them. And trust me, I've done a lot of interviews with a lot of draft picks over the year. And, you kind of get feelings right away. Oh, this guy is, he's going to make it. Our good friend, may rest in peace, Gaines Adams, the first time we interviewed him, it was just like, this guy's not going to make it. He didn't have the size. It wasn't very developed in his upper body. And he just was a very meek guy, very shy, very meek. And you didn't feel like, oh, this is going to be a guy, this guy's going to be a badass coming off the edge. Just didn't see that. Roberto Aguayo was another one, kicker. You just kind of felt mentally he was not up to the challenge. All right, let's talk to the man of the hour, Kevin Harrington.
Hey, how you doing, JP?
Let me get you. I just have to push. I just have to push that button right there.
Full power now.
Yeah, look at me. I'm running the show. We're doing all this stuff
this
here.
Is a nice little view from.
Isn't this cool?
Pelican Golf Club,
Isn't this
right?
cool? Yeah, we got a second camera here.
Nice.
But I'm not even going to mess with that because everything's working.
Hey, it's fun. We got the internet going.
Yeah.
Everything's. It's going to be a hot day, but beautiful. Golf
this is not hot.
Sunshine.
We know hot. This is not hot.
Oh no! I did. Someone said, "What's the worst you've played in?" 115 heat index.
That was in Phoenix, Scottsdale.
That was right here.
Oh, was it
Okay?
here? Oh my God! Yeah, well, we get that too.
You get some windy days, and then some days where it's just not windy at all.
So you're a golf nut like me. You're going to play in 115 because I will play in 115. I care.
Will. No, because for me, it's sort of like a hot yoga. It's exercise. And of course, this course is walking only. So if you walk 18 holes, they figure it's somewhere, give or take 6 to 7, 8 miles.
Yeah.
It's
a good workout.
Bad way to, get the day going.
Yeah.
And as we get older, I'm trying to do that 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, because it keeps you young.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeps everything moving.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so how you been?
I'm fantastic.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you inviting me out here because I've never played Pelican. I've been here many times for the Annika, which, by the way, is just one hell of a golf tournament.
A great tournament.
What an event.
They had the match out here
one
year, and that was Tiger Woods and Spieth and McIlroy.
What was that like?
Pete Thomas. It was they teed off on the first hole. I went with them the whole rest of the way because to see those guys shoot is just, it's unbelievable. It was awesome. Yeah. And it was an evening match, 7 p.m., lit the whole place up. So it was really, it's hard to create daylight.
I know.
mean, like it's like this, but it was pretty close.
Yeah.
It was
and
great.
just Tiger's aura. Like being in Tiger's aura. Can you explain that? Like what that's like?
I was over in the first tee box and he came pulling up and a huge crowd over there, but literally 3 feet away from me. And I'm like, well, it's
you
my
can
lucky
feel it.
day.
You can feel it.
He got out, looked right at me, and I'm like, I'm not going to say a word. I'm in awe, right? And so I don't want to mess it up, right?
Yeah.
But
I have the ability. Such a blessing when he was young. I was covering the U.S. Open at Congressional, I believe it was. It's like 97, maybe 96, 97. Right. And Tiger was really, really young, and it was
like Charlie. Huh?
Yeah, like Charlie. But even then, there was just an aura around this dude, and he hadn't even really done anything yet.
Right. Yeah.
And then I also followed him at the Masters a couple times later on in his career, and just like the electricity around him. Even when he came to Innisbrook, was that 17? That was just, I mean, it's unlike anything in sports. And you've been to a lot of huge events. Yeah. I've covered a lot of huge events. Nothing compares.
I agree.
Right? Am I right?
Oh yeah. We were when they've said Tiger's going to be coming over soon, I said, I got to get over there. I want to be able to at least see it. Well, I was right in the action because he pulled up right next to me. And so the rest of the night was awesome, but it was a laid back night.
Yeah.
Spieth was drinking beer and in shorts and having fun, and they were joking. Tiger jokes less than the rest. I'll say that.
Yeah, even when it's just a kind of a charity match.
He's always got a little bit of serious nature about him, right?
Different cat. Just a different cat.
The black long slacks and the red top, so he's got his branding going all the way, All
right, before we go any further, I want to talk some Shark Tank in a second, but let's talk about your foundation because I think this is really cool what you're doing. I was talking to my wife last night about your foundation, and I'm like, they're teaching these kids stuff that they don't get in school, and it's the most important thing we should be teaching them because you're going to go out into this world and you're going to have to fend for yourself, and the best way to do it, at least for me, is be an entrepreneur. You don't want to work for other people. You want to work for yourself and make your own way. You teaching these kids what that's all about, just opening their eyes to it, I think is immeasurable for them.
Thank you, JP. It's, when I was a kid, 15 years old in high school and wanted to earn some extra money and buy a car. When I was, I'm going to be 16 next year. So I started knocking on doors. I started a little driveway sealing business, and I was the salesman. I closed the deals, and then I applied the blacktop as the sealant.
That's awesome.
I was doing 10 jobs a week. But see, my father was my mentor, and he owned bars, Harrington's Irish Pub in Cincinnati, Ohio, and another one, had nightclubs and catering halls. But I grew up in an atmosphere that was conducive for it.
Yeah.
And this is way back. Of course, my mother didn't like it so much when I dropped out of college. Okay. But so I don't necessarily
Turned
say
out okay,
that's the move to do. But my one boy, Brian, graduated Penn State with honors and is doing awesome. But bottom line is many of the kids today, they just need a little push. They need a little help. They need a little advice. We teach how to pitch, how to analyze, how to find the sales copy points for products, and give them a little edge to be able to go out. And I say, look, if you can be an entrepreneur today without quitting your job, if you're full-time employed, do a little weekend. I call it weekend wealth, or start something in your spare time.
Yep.
And if it starts overtaking full-time income, then you can maybe, depending upon the stability, then maybe make the move. But I don't tell people that aren't real motivated entrepreneurs to just go out and buy a business or start a business without any experience. So, it's
don't quit your day job.
Don't quit your day job. And so
unless you're
and for the kids, it's great because, one of the guys, I do a tour around the city, and we went to St. Pete High School. They had 18 booths in the gymnasium and giving pitches to a panel of judges. Which
how cool is that? Right? Like a Shark Tank.
Yeah, like a Shark Tank. So we picked a winner, and it turned out to be a kid that was already he was teaching other kids how to be on video and how to do YouTube videos and how to build their brand. And I'm like, wow, here's a
super smart
16-year-old boy that's teaching other kids how to perform and how to get viewers and how to be an influencer at the end of the day.
I need to
some of these people make a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. They do. Especially, I have to tell the great Kevin Harrington, when my first job, my entrepreneurial, was cutting lawns in Hollywood, Florida. And my business, I made up little business cards, cut them all out, on the cutter at school. And it was, John's Lawn Service. The grass isn't always green. The grass is greener on the other side because we didn't do your side. That was my pitch.
Like that. Hey,
that's not bad for a 10-year-old, right?
You had some branding going on.
Yeah, some branding going on. And they always laughed when they got the card when I knocked on the door, and that was kind of the entree. Yeah. And they'd say, "Sure, kid, you want to mow my lawn for $5? Go ahead."
That's nice. When I was sealing driveways, I would beautify the driveway, fill the cracks, because in the wintertime, when water got in the cracks and froze, it would triple the size of the cracks. So I'd take pictures of nasty, gnarly driveways, and then the before, and then magical transformation, the after, when we were done. And I'd show that to the neighbor, and when can you do mine?
Right. Okay? You had the pitch down right away.
It was awesome. Back in Cincinnati, Ohio.
How about that?
I say that people, and that's why kids we opened the Entrepreneurship Hub at Junior Achievement up in Tampa. 25,000 high school students have now been through that program.
Wow.
And so they get a little motivation, they get a little knowledge, a little education, and off to the races,
It's life-changing.
And then it's good to have a mentor.
Absolutely. That's a huge part of it. Where do you see this economy going in terms of entrepreneurship? I mean, small business has been under assault for, since COVID. The globalization, these huge corporations eating up everything. Where do you see should kids go to college? Should they go to trade school? Should they be focused on entrepreneurship? What would be your advice?
I think it's a case-by-case situation. For me, I dropped out my second year of college because I had 25 employees and 6 trucks going out every day.
You'd be teaching the class.
So I had to quit. But my oldest son said, "Dad, I want to be in a fraternity, and he went to Penn State, and he's like, I really want to live those college years."
My son did the same thing at FSU.
So he graduated with honors at Penn State and ran some fundraisers while he was there, and then said, "Okay, now that I'm graduated, I'm ready for the family entrepreneurship business." And I said, "Well, take a year to do something else first, okay? Because I want you to go see what the world is like, because it's a tough world out there."
Yeah.
And so he did, and then spent a year with Sprint in corporate, and now he's been with me for 17 years.
How about that?
And so he is an entrepreneur all the way. And so I think for him, it was good to get that college education, made some good connections. But his younger brother is not a college-bound boy. He already tried and didn't make it, and so he's off doing entrepreneurial ventures. And I think some kids, and I've encouraged my younger boy to do that because he was never going to finish 4 years of college.
Yeah.
It's tough today getting through 4
Oh,
years
I know.
of college.
It is, and it's expensive, and it's really expensive.
Exactly.
There has to be a return on investment.
Yeah.
At the end of it, I was listening to I can't remember who it is because my brain doesn't work that way anymore. Saying the trade school is such a great option. Entrepreneurship. There's an entrepreneurial school at Florida State now that my son went to.
Yeah.
He's just second graduating class, and he's gone into work for a couple of different computer firms. He's with a multinational firm right now, but with an eye towards opening his own firm.
Yes.
I'm just going to learn. I'm going to learn as much as I can how they run these businesses, and then when I feel I'm ready, I'm going to make my move.
Yeah.
Is that something that you would advise?
I think a trade school is a great idea for many, many kids because, I mean, I'll tell you was disgusting for me. My son he graduates he went to a great school here in St. Pete. And when he graduated, he still couldn't balance out his checkbook. And I'm like,
crazy.
Why don't they teach, more practical things like this? But like a trade school, he would have been perfect to be in because he's more handy.
Yeah.
He actually sort of liked music. It was a little more artsy than his older brother. His older brother was finance, business, entrepreneurship, and his younger
more
brother,
artsy,
his artsy was creating music, and so I wish there had been some kind of a trade school for music for my younger boy.
Yeah, it's called Belmont University, where my daughter just went. But it's really expensive trade school. But she just graduated this week. It's Belmont University. It's the best music school, at least in my opinion, the best music school in the world. And she just got her music business degree and was also a great performer. So she's not necessarily but my son is very entrepreneurial. My daughter is not.
Yeah,
she's looking for a job with Sony and Universal and doing those interviews. So it does depend on the person.
I think it depends on the person, but I don't think it ever hurts. More and more colleges are doing entrepreneurship programs. I mean, Babson College is huge in the world of
FSU just started theirs.
FSU. I was on the board of the USF.
Yeah,
both the Tampa chapter as well as the
St.
Pete.
Yeah.
I was on the board of the entrepreneurship program for both schools for 5 years each. Plus, I was on the board at UT, their whole entrepreneurship program. Dr. Rebecca White has an awesome program at University of Tampa.
So it's taken over.
The kids today have access to some of the best minds.
They do,
and they also I've been speaking at all of these. I mean, the Tampa campus of USF, the UT campus at Tampa, the St. Pete campus, Babson College.
And you have your own entrepreneurial hub here.
And now we have our own entrepreneurial
foundation.
hub. So I just believe that, it's funny because when I did a few years on Shark Tank and 175 segments and had a lot of fun, I'd get stopped from a father he'd be in the airport and he'd say, "My daughter, she's only 13, but she loves Shark Tank. Would you give her some words of wisdom?"
You must get that a lot.
So I started doing events at colleges, as I just said. Then we'd get the high schools. I just did St. Pete High School, and I do actually grade schools also because they're starting in the 5th, 6th, 7th grade.
That's great.
They
should.
Yeah,
like you and I did.
Awesome.
Like you and I did. What's your best Shark Tank story? Do you have a couple of them?
Yeah, I got
or the best product that you came across that you may have invested in?
What's funny about products is people always say to me, "What are some of the craziest products that you've been involved with?" I said they generally involve toilets. Okay, okay. So one of
everybody's got to use it.
This lady comes out and she says, "Look, if you got a cat and you get a litter box, they go to the bathroom and then they're walking through the house, and boy, that's dirty all through the house. It's disease and this and that. But what if you could throw your litter box away forever and teach the cat how to go to the bathroom on the toilet?" Okay, it's called City Kitty. It's a cat toilet training product, and so she demonstrated how it worked. And it does, and they used it to train the cat on the movie Meet the Fockers.
Yeah,
where
I
it jumped
remember
up
it.
on the toilet.
Jinxie cat. Yeah.
So they start with this tray. It's got a little bit of a litter on it, and then each week the tray gets it gets a piece comes out until at the 4th week there's nothing there.
There's nothing there, and
they're
there's
still going to the bathroom on the toilet. So that did tens of millions of dollars in sales. It just blows me away. Right?
Never thought that would make
Scrub
it.
Daddy was in one that Lori Grenier did, and I ended up with some rights to, because a lot of the sharks work with the other sharks, and I did deals with Barbara, and I did deals with Damon and Mr. Wonderful, and I always ask the questions because people they'll stop me and say, "Tell me about Kevin O'Leary and Mr. Wonderful." I said, "Well." One day on the show, I said to him, I called him out. I said, "I know why you call yourself Mr. Wonderful." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because nobody else will." He said, "You're right. I tend to be the only one that calls me Mr. Wonderful."
It's all in the branding. It's all in the branding, right?
I've never heard anybody else
That's
say
funny.
unless they're joking. Right. But anyway, no, we had a lot of fun. Barbara's cool. Mark Cuban did a lot of deals. Now he's finished his time on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
And, I feel like there was guest sharks and, there was, all kinds of, Richard Branson was a shark. And there was dozens and dozens of fame. Kevin Hart was a shark.
Does he? I don't think I've ever seen a Kevin Hart episode. So I would love to see that.
Watching some of those, but, they have him in for a segment or two. I did 175 segments in the early days of that show. Paid my dues. Made a couple deals. They didn't all work, and that's but that's business, right?
That's business, yeah. Well, Kevin, I know you got to go talk to all the great people that are coming here. Thank you so much for inviting us out,
JP. And I'm gonna be watching your score here. I'm gonna see. Let's bring home a winner today. Okay?
You know what? As long as we don't have a scorekeeper with us, we might.
Okay, it's called pencil whipping. Okay, well, I'm gonna check your scorecard.
That's what happens at most of these tournaments.
I know,
in case you didn't know.
Okay.
I would never do that. I would never do that. Absolutely not.
Great to be here.
The couple of guys I'll be playing with, I don't know about them. They're Mike Kozlowski, Todd Wiseman.
Oh yeah,
Koz was my one of my college roommates.
Oh, okay,
and I've known Wiseman forever. So we got a little Florida State contingent that we'll be playing. So we'll be out there chopping and drinking and having a good time. But we probably won't be winning. Yeah.
All right.
I'll let you go.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. It's great, Kevin Harrington, right there. Oh, it's going to be a great time today. Thank you, partner. Yes, I got some comments in here. More Right Rudder says college is a scam. I don't know. It can be. There's no question about it. It can be. There you go. College is a scam. John Hill says, my mother had a friend back in 1970s that taught their cat to use the toilet. He's millions of dollars in that. Are you kidding me? More Right Runner. Trade him to trade school. I dropped out to be a pilot. Yeah. No, I especially with what, college costs these days. It's just, I think Kevin makes a great point there. It just depends on the person. If they have that entrepreneurial spirit like my son does, he's going to kill it. He's going to be great at, when he gets the confidence to go out into the world and set up the business. And I highly recommend that. If you go to college and you go out into the corporate world, see how these businesses are run, see what you like, see what you don't like, make notes. Always have an eye towards the future of starting your own business. Cause my situation, to me, that opportunity is to go back and work for other corporate in corporate jobs. But, I much rather prefer to be my own boss, do my own thing. And it gives me that freedom to have a schedule that I want to come out here and talk about sports and go play in a golf tournament. I've worked at 620. I've worked at Channel 8. I've worked with NBC Sports, work with a lot of different huge companies. And for me, having the autonomy of being your own boss is tremendous. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into it, obviously. But to me, it's enjoyable, and I'd much rather do that. And for other people, they like the security of that paycheck, that comes in every single week. To me, I like the hustle of it. That's what we do. And it's fun. Yeah, it can get a little hairy at times when you don't have that the corporate paycheck coming in. Absolutely. But to me, the trade-off is what it is. So, and I think, what Kevin's doing here and teaching these kids, it is so important because so much of what, school is set up to train hourly workers, really, go to school for 8 hours a day. This tell you what to do. Here's your task. Go do it. Do a test. Our schools aren't set up to necessarily in a bigger philosophy, challenge people to be critical, independent thinkers, because that's not what they want. But it should be something that you encourage your children to do. and to be independent thinkers. And this is my favorite phrase to my kids, and they hated hearing it, was figure it out. They come, you want to guide them and you want to help them, but there's certain questions that that they can figure it out and do it themselves. Give them the confidence to do it themselves. Just don't, when they ask you for something or do something here, ask you for this, ask you for that. Because a lot of times kids just get in that first thing I'm going to do is just ask my mom or ask my dad, and then they'll tell me what to do, and then I'll go do it. That's not what you want. You want to say, let's figure it out, or let's figure it out together. Let's figure it out together. Ask them questions. What do you think you should do here? What do you think you should do here? How do you think you can get this done? Take 5 minutes and think for yourself how you can best do this, and start to train their brain into thinking for themselves. I think it's a immeasurable thing. And when it comes to business and being an entrepreneur, that's what it's all about. You got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. Learn from the best, take the opportunities because there's, like Kevin said, there's so many opportunities now for kids to learn from him. The educational hub center that they have here in Pinellas County, YouTube videos, master classes, you can learn from the best. So take that opportunity to do so. If you're young, think about that in terms of running your own business, because it's great. It's great. Some days it's not so great. All right. We'll take a quick break here. We'll come back and talk a little Rays baseball as they get set to host the Phillies tonight at the Stein. So quick break, back to the Pelican right after this.
Hey, are you tired and broke from going to those overpriced sports bars with $18 martinis and $20 burgers? Well, head over to Riveters, now the official sports bar and grill of the J.P. Peterson Show. I love the atmosphere. It's uniquely nostalgic American, recalling the days of Rosie the Riveter. The staff is incredibly friendly and welcoming in a laid-back, casual, indoor-outdoor setting. And check out the reviews, and you'll hear this. Best Reuben sandwich ever. Amazing wings, burgers, and prime rib. The welcome you get when you walk in is incredible. The staff will call you by name. You're not just customers. You're really part of the family. So go say hello to Maha, Taylor, Serena, May, Courtney, Jamie, Christina, Lauren. Tell them JP sent you. This is a real sports bar, and we love our home teams. And they're playing the games on the TVs all the time. You won't have to ask to put the Lightning, the Rays, the Bucs, or the Rowdies on. They do the UFC fights for free, no cover. Big screens and TVs everywhere. It's the place to watch sports in Tampa. Great fresh food, amazing staff, great drinks, insane happy hour, 3 to 7 every day. Race season is here, so make sure you stop by Riveters before or after the game. It's just north of 275 on Dale Mabry, just south of Steinbrenner Field. See you at Riveters. Diamond Days are back at the Golden Diamond Source, Tampa Bay's largest jewelry superstore. I love Diamond Days because right now you can get up to 20% off all the diamonds in the inventory, including April's birthstone. Plus, you can take advantage of 0% financing for up to 5 years. This means that if you finance $5,000, your monthly payment would only be $83. Best of all, your Golden Diamond Source diamond never loses its value. And listen up, all soon-to-be newlyweds, here's your chance to win a $2,500 shopping spree at the Golden Diamond Source, along with a wedding cake for up to 100 guests, created by the renowned celebrity chef, The Cake Girl, as seen on the Today Show. Entering is easy. Simply visit the Golden Diamond Source on Omerton Road for your chance to win big. If you want your special someone to say yes, make sure it's a Golden Diamond Source diamond. Visit us at 3800 Omerton Road in Clearwater. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays!
Let's go! Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the J.P. Peterson Show as we roll on here at the Pelican. Golf Club out in beautiful Bel Air. It is a gorgeous day for the first annual Kevin Harrington Foundation golf event. And it's benefiting the foundation that, as we just chatted about, helps out kids teaching them how to become entrepreneurs. Also, there's a veterans component as well, as they help veterans coming back learn how to start their own businesses and entrepreneurial pursuits. So we're raising money for a great cause out here, and you can go to Kevin Harrington Foundation. Just Google it. They have a webpage there if you'd like to donate to some of these very worthy causes. You're helping kids learn how to start businesses for life and become successes in college and after college, or not even going to college. So very, very worthy cause. We really appreciate him having us out here. All right, the Rays begin a series with the Phillies tonight at the Stein. Emily, would you be kind enough to look up the pitching matchups for this? Intern Emily is here. I know you all want to say hello to intern Emily. We'll bring her on here in a second. She's dying to talk about FSU's baseball's win over Clemson this weekend. So I'll bring her on here in a second, which figures out those pitching matchups. But I want to talk a little bit about the Rays. John Romano had a really good column today, I thought, on this Rays team in the Times. And interesting that he noted that a 16-8 start to 2024, 16-8 start to 2025. Interesting. The last 200 games, last year, this year have been pretty much middling 500 baseball. And we went into this season saying, look, the pitching staff is going to be incredible, and that's what they're going to run prevention, pitching staff. And I think they've, for the most part, lived up to that. There was a little bit of a lull there, but I think the pitching is going to be tremendous. Fairbanks looks to be in great form. So if they could just get this offense going, they're going to be able to rip off, a few wins in a row and get onto it now. And they have to. Listen, I don't know what it is about the Stein, the crop trop, as I like to call it. I don't know what it is about that this venue that is the Rays just can't score. They go on the road, they can hit. Here, they just haven't been able to score, and they're going to face a really good Phillies team that's going to come in here with some really good players, Schwarber and the whole group. And I think they're obviously one of the leading candidates to win a World Series. So this will be a very interesting series at home, and they've got to score runs. They've got to score runs against this team because they will put up runs. There's no question about it. And you look at the lineup, especially against lefties, and it's horrific. It's horrific. And maybe, Cash is going to have to find out and maybe depart a little bit from the analytics driven lineups and start finding something that works for this team, because right now it's not working, especially against left-handers. So, Morel, I think, has been a very big disappointment. Trading Palacios for him has been a huge disappointment. Is he going to find it at some point? I don't know. It really doesn't look like it. I think we've seen a pretty good sample from him. Still a young player, and it showed some pop, but I think the league has caught up to him in terms of the holes in his swing, and I just don't see it. I don't see it with him. Chandler Simpson has just been an absolute delight to watch, and I think this is a guy that I hope can. As I said on Twitter the other day, he needs, put him in the leadoff spot until he's dead. Like, don't, against lefties, righties, ambidextrous pitchers, octopuses, I don't care what it is. Put him in the opening lineup at the top of the lineup and don't move him. He needs to learn how to hit against lefties and righties. Maybe this season is about that. Maybe this season is about Jonathan Aranda getting 200 at-bats against lefties and figuring it out. And he can become an everyday first baseman that can hit, I think he's got incredible ball to bat skills, and we've seen it already. He's, absolutely crushing right-handers, but he doesn't get a whole lot of opportunity. He hasn't been great. He's gotten some opportunity against left-handers. It hasn't been great, but you got to give him a robust opportunity in my mind. That's the only way they're going to learn. Boz, Bradley, Littell, Ryan Pepio, Drew Rasmussen, and you got Shane McClanahan and Joe Boyle waiting in the wings. I mean, to me, it's pretty obvious, especially when McClanahan gets healthy and you can get Joe Boyle up here. You can trade some of this starting pitching for really good hitters, but it's got to be on, you've got to spend money. You've got to spend money because they cost money. Good, experienced hitters that hit in the playoffs cost money. There was a as he writes, he says, maybe the loss of Wander Franco, the loss of Tropicana Field, and the loss of precious revenues are too much for one team to overcome. That would not be an unreasonable perspective to adopt. I mean, I reject that. You don't build a payroll on 1 year revenues, and to say that they're losing ticket revenue when the prices have been higher. I don't know it. I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but it can't be that significant where it should affect your payroll. Payroll should be, planned out 4, 5, 6 years in advance. We know what the payroll philosophy of the Rays has been. They're never going to get over $100 million. It's usually around the $80 million mark, and with revenues of $300 million. It's ridiculous. They're second to last in the league in the percentage of money that they spend on players. And it's been that way since Stu Sternberg got here. Yes, they've won games in the regular season, but the last couple of years, not so much. They've had a lot of bad seasons under Sternberg as well. But yes, they've learned how to win in the regular season, but to me, it's not a championship level philosophy. And now as teams spend more and more and it gets more top heavy, I think you even have less of a chance to win a World Series. I think you got to get in the game to the $130 to $150 million mark, and that's going to take move your stadium to Tampa where there's more revenue, premium seating involved. That's that maybe that's a discussion for another time, because this team about this year, how are they going to turn it around? You got surplus pitching. Go out and buy yourself some hitters. But in order for Neander to make the move, he's got to add payroll. And does he have the freedom to do that? I don't think so. He said that he does. The proof's in the pudding. They've never been able to really add any significant payroll. When Hassan Kim comes back, I mean, look, he's a better hitter than Taylor Wall. I'm a better hitter than Taylor Walls, even though he got 4 hits the other day. But he's not a slugger by any means. He's not going to, even in his best years, provide a huge boost of power to this offense. There'll be some, and that will be helpful. But, I mean, you look at the lineups in this league that are getting it done, they're chock full of hitters. But I think, even bringing in 1 or 2 would help this team dramatically with the pitching that they have. All right. You got the pitching? You got the pitching matchups? Emily, come on in here. Oh, yeah. Well, you got any pitching matchups for the Phillies series? See if you can find that. What's their record at home? 9-13? 9-13 at home? That's not good enough. That's not good enough. And they've had that heavy home game schedule for the first part of this season. So, they're going to go out on the road, which actually might be great for the summer for them to get on the road because they've been so much better on the road. So I don't know what it is about the style. I think it's going to even out, to be quite honest with you. I think it's going to I don't think there's anything inherent about what other teams are doing and what, the Rays are just not a great hitting team. And I think they've just been worse at home. I don't think there's anything special about Steinbrenner Field. Is the wind blowing in a little bit more from left field? It kind of blows in from left field. Balls die in left and center. They fly out in right field. Brandon Lau should have a hell of a lot more home runs, but he doesn't. So we'll see how they adjust to that. Here, you can come on in. Come on in.
Okay. I got to scooch my chair.
Slide your chair over. Say hello to the folks.
Hello, folks.
Then you
Hope
can
everyone's having a wonderful morning so far.
Yes.
Almost afternoon. Zach Wheeler and Drew
Rasmussen tonight. Oh, that's going to be a good one. Wheeler against Rasmussen. All right. What do we got? It's 7 o'clock, right? Tonight? 7:05. I should have this at my back here, but I'm trying to run the show. And
Sports Illustrated did not tell me the time.
It's 7:05.
I'm doing terrible as a stats for you right now.
It's all right. It's all right. So we got Wheeler, Rasmussen, and then
7:05.
Yep.
Today.
Mm-hmm. I just threw this on you real quick.
What else do we need?
Tomorrow's pitching matches for the series. Do we have them?
Tomorrow.
Do we have those?
Let's see. Not on this website.
Okay. All right. So tell me about Florida State. What happened this weekend? They take 2 of 3 from Clemson. Florida State was number 5 going in, right? Clemson was number 6, I believe.
Number 3.
We're number 3.
They were the better team.
So we take 2 of 3
supposedly.
from them and should have won game 2.
Correct. Yes. But game 2 was a little bit weird, of course, with a rain delay.
Yeah.
And going in and finishing that game right before game 3, you kind of just
Jamie Arnold, our Jesuit guy, was awesome on Friday.
Oh, he's always awesome.
Yeah.
He's
going to be a very high draft pick.
Very high. He's projected number 1 right now.
Yeah. We got to get him on the show. Can you get him on the show?
Oh, we could try.
Okay.
We could definitely try. I've tried to get him on my podcast before, but he's a very hot commodity right now.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay.
But yeah, we'll do our best.
All
for
right,
sure.
we'll get him on.
But yeah, it's hard to remember the details of this weekend because it was just so jam packed and there was so much that happened. But game 2, obviously, you dropped that level out the
The
series.
pitcher his name escapes me. The lefty that went on Saturday.
Which for Clemson?
For FSU. It was pitching
went on
awesome.
Saturday. Joey Vellini.
Yeah. He was pitching awesome. Maybe his best game of the year.
There was a point in time during the season where his numbers were better than Jamie's.
Yeah, he was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Get to the 8th inning. They put a couple of guys on, and then he gave up a big knock.
Mm-hmm.
And the game gets delayed to the Sunday.
Too much going on.
They lose that game, but then the game 3,
Mm-hmm.
they run rule Clemson.
They sure do.
20-8 was it?
20-9. Yes.
Take that.
20-9.
Take that, Clemson.
Which they kind of ruled them twice. Clemson came back. Of course, it was 10-0, and then Clemson scored like 5 in the 4th or 5th. And but yeah, Drew Furrow, second homer of the day, and walked it off.
Nice. So they jumped up to, obviously, since Texas got swept,
Mm-hmm.
the SEC team that was number 1, Florida State, obviously would jump into the number 1 spot,
You
right?
would think so.
Right.
But they're an ACC team. So the SEC team that got swept stayed at number 1, which makes a lot of sense because Clemson, who just lost the series, didn't necessarily get swept, but they dropped about 6 spots.
That's so
Picture
wrong.
time.
That's so wrong.
It is pretty wrong, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't-
Still getting
doesn't make
snubbed.
sense.
We're still getting snubbed.
Well, I think it's worse for Clemson. I mean, you dropped from 3 to I think they were 7 or 8 now in the latest
And they just
ranking,
lost
and you lost
2
to
or
the number
3.
2 team now. So doesn't really make a lot of sense there, but
It's just means more to
college
the
baseball.
SEC.
It just means more.
And that's why they pay these posters.
Unless you
to
get
do what they
swept,
do.
then it means less.
What's that?
Unless you get swept, then it means less.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, we did lose the series at Florida this year, right?
We did,
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So we run ruled them one time, and then, or no, we walked it off with a grand slam,
Mm-hmm.
but then they came back to beat us. So
Yes.
maybe we'll see them in the regionals.
Maybe.
No, maybe they'll host and we'll
know.
host.
I don't think so. They're not very good.
No?
They're not ranked.
Really?
No, not at all. Not
Even
even,
after
top
wow.
25.
Okay,
No.
but we're gonna get a regional, I would think,
We most definitely
FSU
should.
will
We
get a
should get a
regional.
super too.
and the super
Top
regional.
8 hosts both.
Okay,
So, pending
but you got to
make
get
it
through
there.
the regional.
You do,
Yeah.
yes.
So, and I'm not watching it as closely as you are. It seems like this Friday and Saturday pitching is really good.
Mm-hmm.
The midweek pitching is not so good.
Mm-mm.
There's not a lot of depth to the pitching stuff, but not a lot of teams have a whole lot of depth. But
Yeah.
can this Florida State offense carry them?
Some days, yes.
Yeah.
Some days, no. What really hurt you is actually in that first UF game, our Tuesday starter, Evan Crest, got hurt. And so they've really struggled to put together another, like a 4th starter for those midweek games. And then the bullpen kind of has
We
those
don't have
same
enough Jesuit
issues.
arms.
No, not enough. 4 is not enough.
Or it's not enough.
Yep, we need some more
My
guys. So
Lord.
Jesuit guys, let's keep it coming to
Keep it
Florida
coming.
State next year.
Keep it coming.
Yes, but the offense, I mean, some days they look great, some days they don't look as great, but I think too often they look for the home run ball.
Mhm.
Everybody kind of wants to be the hero. And what I saw this weekend was much better with small balls, stringing some hits together and not relying on the home run ball.
Now, Gary Sheffield, I think, is going to be here today.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's playing today. I played golf with him at a charity event at Avila. God, it has to be 10 years ago now. And my Lord, the swing speed on this guy's golf swing. Guess what? It's Gary Sheffield. Like, I mean, he didn't back on that particular time. He didn't really know where it was going, but it was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. It's kind of like most of us. But yeah, and his son is playing for Florida State. He's not getting a lot of playing time though, just yet. He's a freshman, right?
He's a freshman.
And he was on Jesuit team, right? He's another
Was he?
Jesuit.
I think so.
Was it? I think he was.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I think he might have been. So we're tapping into that's a pipeline to Florida State. Tampa
Question
Jesuit.
though, can Gary do the waggle with a golf club?
I think he did,
Really?
if I'm not mistaken. Because if you haven't seen his son hit, it was exactly like his dad. The waggle on the bat is
Mhm.
exactly like his dad. And but when his dad did it, it was so intimidating.
Mm.
Like pitchers would be like, "Holy crap,
What's
this guy's
going on?"
ready to hit. He is ready to hit," and he was ready to hit and hit a
Mhm.
lot. So yeah, he's finding his way. I know he was at this series this weekend,
Mhm.
so he's not, but he's just young, and this is a pretty talented team. So
Yes.
all right.
very.
Can they win? Can they win the College
they
World
can.
Series for
Of
the
course
first
they
time
can.
ever?
Well, anything, I mean, crazier things have happened.
My
If
God.
I definitely think this year everything has to be in alignment, but we've got the pitching, we've got the offense. They just all 3 phases, the defense too. I mean, they've been great, especially the infield. All 3 phases have to click, and they've done it before. So, fingers crossed.
In the name of my good friend Mike Martin Sr. at some time, dadgummit, as he used to say a lot, dadgummit, they got to win it at some point. It's just a numbers game. Mm-hmm. So maybe this is the year. Maybe our Tampa kids from Jesuit can get it done. So we'll see. All right. Well, thanks for jumping in here.
Of course.
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
We're going to cut the show a little short here today because I got to get on the range. That's kind of the way it works. Hey, big shout out to the Golden Diamond Source. Mother's Day is coming up. They've got the Mother's Day match going on right now through May 12th, sorry. May 12th, you get a $500 gift card. They'll match it with another $500 gift card. So what you could do is go down there with $500, right? Get a gift card for your wife, who's also the mother of your children. And then you get the other $500 gift card and you give it to your mom. So you spend $500, but you get $1,000 in buying power. That's how you do it at the Gold and Diamond Source. So you can go online, goldendiamond.com. You could do it there, or just go on into the showroom, even better. And you can spend that money right there. You double the buying power. And, obviously they have the biggest selection, best staff, everything. Don't forget, they also have, if you got any old gold jewelry or any jewelry lying around the house that you don't wear anymore, bring it down there. They got gemologists. You'd be like, I don't even know if this is gold. I don't know if this is a diamond. I forgot. I don't know. Bring it down there. They'll tell you what it is. And by the way, since they've been in business for 40 years, you don't have to worry about them screwing you over like some of these other places. It'll be like, no, that's not a diamond, but I'll buy it for $50, right? So you have the peace of mind to know that you're going to get honest people giving you an honest price and the best price on your old gold jewelry. So lots of different things you can do with the Golden Diamond Source. So for Mother's Day, this Sunday coming up, don't screw it up. Get over there, double your money till the 12th. $500 gift card, get a $500 gift card for free. All right. Big thanks to our host here, Kevin Harrington. Big thanks to all the folks here at Pelican for helping us out, set everything up. Great job, Emily. Big thanks to you for helping us set up here. Big thanks to Scott Reynolds as well, who joins us from the Pewter Report. If you missed any of that, you can check it out on our podcast. If you missed any of this stuff, or just go back wherever you're watching this on YouTube or on X, and you can watch it as well. So, we will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity, and maybe even have this guy back with me. Yep, there's Timmy, who went off into Never Land of Wi-Fi this morning. He started the show with us, and then poof, he was gone. So we will hopefully get Tim back tomorrow, or not, and we will see you then.